Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Preacher, and these are the Pews. Doing a little breaking news here today, which is very rare. Usually, we're far late to the topic, but Xbox has shut down. Let me bring up the graphic here. Four of their in-house first-party studios. Now, these are Bethesda, but as we all know, Xbox bought Bethesda a while back, and they are shutting down four of their studios. Now, very first and foremost, I'll be very frank, we should not use the loss of jobs to fuel the console war. This is very sad, right? These four studios, a lot of people have lost their jobs. They woke up likely today, like all of us, and found out that they're not doing the thing that they thought they were doing at the place they thought they were doing it anymore. And I think we really have to look at the horrible loss and rate of loss of job and work in the games industry right now, and think about the permanent repercussions of this. Right, I always think about, like, man, we're losing some people because these are software engineers. Some people are just not gonna come back, right? You get laid off. Maybe you don't do that field anymore. Maybe you do switch over to something, some other software engineering job that's going to make you a lot of money. You know what I mean? I just think it's really sad that we're potentially losing so many of our auteurs and so many people who have the passion for games and want to make games. That's a limited source of people to even begin with, who have the capability, want, and drive and love to make games. And we're just washing them out. They're rinsing them in the games industry, and it's sad. It's very, very sad because it's clear that these are greed moves, right? So before we even get into that, let's read the excerpt. This is an excerpt from an internal email that got out from Microsoft. So these are basically from the horse's mouth. They basically say before this that the changes that will be made are, and then they list the changes. Arcane Austin, this studio will close, with some members of the team joining other studios to work on projects across Bethesda. Arcane Austin has a history of making impactful and innovative games, and it is a pedigree that everyone should be proud of. Redfall's previous update will be its last as we end all development on the game. Sorry, the text is a little small. The game and its servers will remain online for players to enjoy, and we will provide make good offers to players who purchase the Hero DLC. That's another thing, right? Arcane Austin, right? Makers of Redfall, famously now, which is sad again because they also made Prey, but most of those people left. But anyway, so they make the dud, they get shut down, right? But they sold $100 editions, right? You sold people DLC that's now never going to get made. That's those make good offers, right? But you didn't make good, basically, right? You didn't make good. And, again, I'm not going to sugarcoat how we're talking here and what we're talking about, right? This is console wars, right? And in a lot of it, we just saw yesterday, right? Sony reneged. That was gonna be the video today because I think this is also big news. And as a PlayStation centric channel, I want to make sure that I hold Sony to task more than anyone, right? So maybe that will get a dedicated video now that I think about it. But the short of it is, we've seen a lot of people rah-rahing about holding your company to task this morning, especially this morning, and how you should not be afraid to ask, and you should stand up for yourselves as the consumer, right? Well, here's a perfect chance for a lot of those Xbox guys who were parroting that to stand on your square, because they sold you something that you're not getting back. Maybe you need a full refund. That's what I think, right? They falsely advertised to you, right? And because, again, this isn't like Microsoft or Xbox ran out of money. They just decided to not do this anymore, is what happened. They didn't. This is not circumstantial. We just saw their finances. Let me not get into that. The next studio, Alpha Dog Studios. This studio will also close. We appreciate the team's creativity in bringing Doom to new players. Mighty Doom will sunset on August 7th, and we will be turning off the ability for players to make any purchases in the game. This is a mobile game, mobile studio. Sad to see him go all the same. But I don't have any familiarity with the game. This is the really perplexing one, I will say for now. This is the one that is I wonder if we should even save this for the last. Yeah, maybe I'll skip right to Roundhouse for a second because I got a lot to say about Tango. Roundhouse Games, the team on Roundhouse Games will be joining ZeniMax Online Studios. Roundhouse has played a key role in many of our recent game launches and bringing into ZOS to work on the Elder Scrolls Online will mean we can do even more to grow the world and its million players who call home. I don't know who Roundhouse are. I don't know what they do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to them all the same. It's not funny. I'm sorry to them all the same. Again, I just don't have familiarity with them. But I think I have heard their name around, but I'm not sure exactly what they work on. Tango Gameworks. All right. Tango Gameworks will also close. We are thankful for their contributions to Bethesda and players around the world. Hi-Fi Rush will continue to be available to players on the platforms it is today. This does not make sense. Right? This does not make sense. This to me tells me that Xbox has no clue what they're doing anymore. They have no clue what they're doing anymore, and maybe they never did. Maybe they really never had a sense for what makes good games, what makes a good gaming company. Because again, this whole thing, all four of these studios closing, make no doubt, is a greed move. It is just a greed move. Their financials just came out. They are high up because of the addition of ABK, right? Just boosted their financials huge, right? They were just bragging about it. Satya Nadella is bragging about having 7 bestseller games on the PlayStation Store. They have the money. And of all the studios you decide to shut down, you shut down your one Japanese studio that just had a critically acclaimed game. New IP, brand new IP come out that are also versatile. They did a horror game, so who knows what you're going to get out of Tango Gameworks. That was your wild card. That was your wild card in Japan. And you didn't even make any of these studios like available for acquisition. You just shut them down. What? Again, this was not a move done for money. They just probably didn't want to have the operating cost anymore or whatever it was. Like, you shut down Tango Gameworks. They were a really good studio. And the fact that they didn't take them and nurture them shows that, again, I said in the last video, we shouldn't put a mirror up to these competitors and expect it to all be the same. You know what I mean? They are not the same. And this just shows that Xbox has no interest. Xbox has zero interest in nurturing a studio and making them something bigger, right? They want to buy an already big studio. They don't want to take the time. They must not have wanted to take the time because Tango Gameworks is a prime candidate to line up and be your next big studio, right? They're like a game or two away from the next big thing, and you just shut them down for greed. It's sad. It's abysmal, really. This move doesn't make any sense to me. It really makes no sense to me. And I'm going to say that as somebody who spends way too much time over analyzing the game industry. This move makes no sense and is kind of worrying. It's like, I clearly don't align with Xbox's vision, right? But they have always had some vision going on. And even when they stepped on rakes, it was a rake. This is intentional. This seems like something at the top has changed drastically. Like if it, like in that even above, I mean, they just put 4 games on PlayStation. Something has clearly changed drastically, right? But this even more so than that, right? And that's crazy because this makes no sense. This just actually makes no sense and rings as somebody who doesn't know the gaming industry at all, which of all the things that I'll criticize Phil Spencer about is not that. He understands how important Japan is. He understands the importance of a brand new exclusive IP. He even said that they put Hi-Fi Rush over there with the intent to see if they could make a two. Like, this seems like maybe almost it seems like maybe not far away Phil Spencer. Well, I'm gonna say that now. Yeah, I'm gonna make that prediction now. I think we may very well see Phil Spencer leaving, whether on his own accord because the reins are clearly being taken from him, or maybe forced out of the room because his vision brought them this far, but it cannot elevate them apparently, or it's taken too long. It that Mr. Maddie said something, or was it called the Divining Dukes? I will say, said something, and it's they think maybe what was it, Colin Moriarty? The LSM community said. Yes, I believe it was Colin Moriarty. He said that maybe the ABK trial just took too long. Maybe this was the year stuff was supposed to be all figured out, and like by them extending it with all the lawsuits, it just took too long, and things just started to burst out at the seams. It just couldn't, the legs couldn't hold it up anymore. It seems like they were crushed under. It seems like the dream of Xbox was crushed under the weight of ABK. It really was, and it will go down in gaming industry as one of the biggest monkey paws to ever exist, because you see it now. There's no denying that Xbox has completely changed. Xbox has completely changed since ABK. And I forget who said this one. I'm not even going to try this time. But they said it's like ABK, it's like Xbox did not absorb ABK. ABK absorbed Xbox. And that is where I stand. That's really what I think. I think they got Uno reversed, because Xbox is not the same. It's not even the same as 2 years ago. The second that ABK was theirs, you saw things change immediately. And they're not going back. So ultimately, those are my thoughts on this. Again, my heart goes out to all the developers who are affected by this. This is terrible. We should not weaponize this in any way. And even though, I am looking at it through the lens of that, I hope this is not seen as that. This is not a win for me. You know what I mean? No Tango Game Works is not a win for me. I would have loved to see what they continue on to do. I've always been a big fan of theirs from the outside. I thought The Evil Within was cool looking. I was not into horror games at the time, but I always did want to get back to The Evil Within 2, especially after they made that third person DLC. I'm a big fan of the new REs, so Hi-Fi Rush seemed, especially since it was so left field from them, it was a win. Like I have nothing against Tango Gameworks, nothing against any of these studios. Maybe Arcane Austin did need to go. Hey, sorry, but never want to see anybody out of a job. But that did not go over well. And again, I think that just kind of shows that Xbox, as it is, maybe it was a year and a half ago, but as Xbox ABK stands today, you can't have a big L like that and stick around. That's just not the ship they seem to be running anymore. But those are my thoughts there. There was a second page. Let me bring that up. So I'll read it to you first. This is the second page. It starts as Bethesda remains one of the key pillars of Xbox with a strong portfolio of amazing games and thriving communities. As we look to the future, there is an impressive lineup of games on the horizon. In 2024 alone, we have Starfield Shattered Space, Fallout 76 Skyline Valley, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and The Elder Scrolls Online Golden Road. Golden Road. As we align our plans and resources to best set ourselves up for success in this complex and changing industry, our teams across Arcane Leon, Bethesda Game Studios, id Software, Machine Games, ZeniMax Online Studios, and the Bethesda Publishing and corporate teams will be well positioned to build new IPs, explore new game concepts, and expand on our existing franchises. That is, again, this is an internal email from Matt Booty. So, he was right on there on that business update meeting. This is the tip of the top, right? So this isn't a rumor. This is practically done, if there was any question. So I thought this was interesting to bring up because, again, just looking at this through the lens. So I feel like this part we can talk about, and even though it is related to the closing of these studios, at the end of the day, we speak games on here. We let the games do the talking, and once again, everybody asks for roadmaps from Sony, right? And they point to Xbox's roadmaps. And these roadmaps, if you ever look back on them, everybody loves them at the time, but if you ever look back on them months later, how many we're missing games from that? Where's Flintlock? There's another small one, a couple more that are still not out. You know what I mean? Everwild. You know what I mean? And now to the Redfall DLC. You know what I mean? And what's interesting in this is they purposely named the upcoming games they have in 2024, right? Starfield Shattered Space, Fallout 76 Skylines, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and then the Elder Scrolls expansion, right? What's not there that was there in their roadmap just a couple months ago that everybody was hype off of, that everybody points to? What's not there? Avowed? Gone? What? Well, surely. Yeah, we're going to get a lot of surelys in the months to come. But just know, if they had it, they would have dropped it. If they had anything to say, they would have dropped it right here. You know what I mean? Like, it speaks for itself. The things going on at Xbox. It's clear that we were all right from the beginning. Again, I make these videos simply to chronicle the fall of Xbox but I don't feel like I'm saying anything unique. I don't feel like I'm saying anything necessarily anybody can't see, right? It is very clearly always been two issues with Xbox: the games and the mismanagement. Xbox has been mismanaged. Y'all love Phil Spencer, but he mismanaged the brand. It's just a fact. It's just true. And he's very openly lying to y'all. Again, I'm predicting it here. I think Phil Spencer is on the way out because people are getting hip to his lies. This is, again, breaking news. There isn't even really discourse about this yet on YouTube. Like, I wonder what the podcasts are going to say and the pundits and because it's very clear at this point that Phil Spencer is lying to y'all. It has always been clear, but it's getting ridiculous to try to deny at this point. And it's getting ridiculous for him to come out with this like good guy attitude as we see the things around him that he's only telling half truths. But this video has gone on long. I know y'all got a lot to do. I listen to these videos usually while I'm at work or while I'm driving to work. So, I don't mind a longer format. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Once again, I just want to, send my heartfelt, apologies to all the devs who've lost their jobs here. It's not my aim to try to weaponize this stuff in really any way. The focus here should be on the devs, and hopefully everybody lands on their feet and is able to come back to the gaming industry and thrive. And when they do, we will be here. And I hope to see you back here on the pews.